Yeah, I was wondering, so when you guys picked DeGuara, what convinced you that going for an H-back type body as opposed to the fullback type body that Shanahan's using in San Francisco, what convinced you that that was the way to go with that position?
I just think the versatility he showed as a player, you could definitely see his ability to run routes. We just thought he would be a good movable piece, whether we have him in the backfield or on the line of scrimmage, or, you know, you could even put him in some positions where he's pretty much a wide receiver. So we just like that versatility that he brings.
Wes Hodkwitz.
Hey, good afternoon, Matt. Do you got me okay?
Yeah, Wes.
Okay, awesome. I just wanted to ask you, this has been a long 4 or 5 months to get to this point. I just was curious, what's the energy been like in the building this week? And can you kind of feel the anticipation building a little bit with, your coaches and players?
Yeah, I think the energy's been great. And I think that can be said. I've had a few conversations from some other guys around the league, and I think that's pretty much everybody at this point. I think we've all been cooped up for a long time, and it's great to see everybody's face back in the building. I think that the guys are enjoying being around each other and getting back to football.
Bill Huber.
Hey, Matt, you kept your team pretty healthy last season. How much of that was just your personal philosophy? How much of that was listening to the players' thoughts on how they felt and stuff like that?
Yeah, Bill, I think a lot of it's luck. I mean, we were pretty fortunate to not endure too many significant injuries. And, I do think that we have a plan in place, that Chris Gizzy and Flea have done a great job, as well as we listen to our guys a little bit and how they're feeling about their bodies. But, I think it was a combined effort to try to put together a plan in place to keep these guys healthy, but also, there was a lot of luck involved in that as well.
Mike Clemens.
It was pretty evident last year in practice and games that you asked for a lot of technique and detail and route running on offense. So could you talk about giving this position to Jason Vrabel, him coming here from the Bills, and you and Coach Hackett, and what his assignment this year, his challenge?
Yeah, I think it was nice to have Vrabel in the building last year. I think that you got a good feel for how detail oriented he is. He puts the time in and does a great job of presenting the players with great examples. He is a film junkie, and I think that's what gave us the confidence to elevate him in that role and know that he knows exactly what we want to try to get accomplished on the offensive side of the ball, and he'll be able to relay that to the wide receiver room.
Lance Allen.
Hey, Matt. I guess one of the things this year with practice, the first practice, it's a little different, is guys just trying out different equipment. We talked to Goody about that as well. How do you guide guys through different face shields or whatever they feel comfortable with versus guys being comfortable with the gear that they have and wanting to feel good as they play with this COVID era practice, so to speak?
Yeah, that's nothing that we're going to push on these guys. That is their own individual choice. So I think that, the guys are going to have to go through and experiment and make sure that they've got the protection that they feel is necessary to keep them safe. And, but that is all on an individual basis.
Dennis Krause.
Coach, what are your thoughts on Darnell Savage's future?
Yeah, Dennis, I think he's got a bright future. He displayed some great things last year, and I think the more comfortable he is with our defense, the more detail oriented he is. I think he's going to make more plays, and I'm really excited about how he's attacked it on a daily basis. And it just has to translate from the practice field and just going out there in the game field and on Sundays.
Mark Daniels.
Hey, Matt, just wondering if, Saturday's practice is going to look like a lot like, a first non-padded Saturday practice, or are there going to be alterations based on distancing or anything else that is going to be unique about it versus a normal first time out in the field?
Yeah, I mean, certainly we're going to try to remind our guys to keep their distance when they're not in there, in whether it's in the drills or whether we're doing 11 on 11. So, but I think it will have a pretty typical feel to it. We just got to be mindful as coaches to, when the players aren't in the specific drill or out there on 11 on 11 to stay away from each other.
Aaron Nagler.
Matt, I was wondering if you saw Hard Knocks the other night. Did you give Sean any grief? And is that something you would ever entertain in Green Bay?
You know what? I did not see it. And I'd rather not have all those cameras in the building if I have anything to say about it.
Jason Wilde.
Matt, going back to Mark's question about practice, when are you thinking you'll be in pads for the first time? And what other kinds of alterations? Because, remember, we're used to seeing OTA practices in helmets and shorts. So in what ways do you think it'll look different beyond guys standing really far apart on the sideline?
I think it'll have a normal feel, just like your typical OTA practices where it's just your helmets. But as far as the padded part, we're looking at our third practice is probably our first padded practice. It's either going to be practice 3 or practice 4.
Tom Silverstein.
Hey, Matt, just to piggyback on that, are there limitations, other than not wearing pads, are there limitations from the league on what you can do, what kind of drills you can do? You mentioned 11 on 11, so it sounds like you can do that.
Yeah, no, there certainly are some we got a packet of drills that are banned by the league, and we'll make sure that we adhere to those protocols. But, everything else should be pretty much status quo.
Bill Huber.
You've talked about how you can be better in year 2 just because you know your players and they know you and you have a better feel for what they can do. How much of that is Aaron Jones? I'm compared to what did you know about him at this point last year, or do you have a really good feel for him and there's not a whole lot of untapped potential kind of there?
No, I think, we saw him progress as the season went on, especially with some of the things that we were doing in the passing game. And certainly we're going to try to build off that leading into, this 2020 season.
Steve McGargy.
Just wondering, with the shorter window of no OTAs, all that stuff, and no exhibition games, when the season starts, how much of a rest factor do you think there will be league-wide? What do you think the quality of the game will be in these early weeks of the regular season compared to what we normally see?
I think that is a great question that I don't have the answer to. I mean, who knows? Every year's a little bit different. I think a lot of it's going to depend on our preparation, how we practice, and the situations that we put our guys throughout training camp.
We have time for a few more. Aaron Nagler.
Coach, comparatively to your predecessor, your practices were a little shorter last summer than we've kind of gotten used to around Green Bay. With so little time, especially in pads, no preseason games, are you thinking about maybe going a little longer on the field, or do you think you can still get done what you need to get done in a limited amount of time?
Yeah, I think, well, first of all, there are some restrictions. When our first padded practice has got to be 90 minutes, and then it increases by 15 minutes every day after that, except for when you're coming off a day off. It can't be any longer than your previous practice. So I think the max time on the field is 2.5 hours. As we progress through, we will try to keep our veteran players that we know very well. We'll try to keep them under that 2-hour limit, but we will stay out there with some of our younger players and really give them an opportunity to get more team reps and give us a chance to evaluate those guys. So we'll be out there a little bit longer, totally from I guess from start to finish as a team.
Jason Wilde.
Matt, at the beginning of this, you had that great line about how we're all in this sucker together. The Seahawks just cut a kid apparently for sneaking a woman into the team hotel. I'm wondering, as you talk to your leadership counsel and as you're around your guys and you keep emphasizing this, do you have a feel for how strongly the guys really have embraced this and are in this sucker together? And have you had any conversations with guys that maybe went out without a mask or anything like that?
Yeah, I've got no indication that guys are being reckless out there. I feel like we've really hammered home that message to make sure that they protect the team. I mean, that is a main rule of ours is put the team first. And, you know, I've got a lot of trust in the guys that we have in that locker room. We've got a lot of great character, and I think our guys are going to go about the business the right way.
All right, Coach, that's it for today. Thanks for your time.
All right. Thanks, guys. Y'all take care.